Why do so many older adults assume that reaching 65 marks the final declining chapter of life, when the human body actually possesses the biological potential to carry us vibrantly into our 80s, 90s, and even past 100? At 65, your physical body has certainly experienced changes. You might not bounce back quite as rapidly as you did at 30, and you may notice a bit less raw strength, more morning stiffness, or that you need extra time to feel fully clear-headed after waking up. But experiencing physical change is definitely not the same thing as surrendering to decline. Your heart is still beating faithfully every single minute to circulate oxygenated blood throughout your tissues. Your brain still retains the remarkable ability to adapt, learn new skills, and forge fresh neural pathways. And most importantly, your skeletal muscles can still actively respond, rebuild, and strengthen when provided with the right movement and daily nutrition. Large-scale clinical studies following tens of thousands of aging adults, including landmark research associated with Harvard scientists, have consistently demonstrated powerful links between simple, healthy daily habits and living significantly longer with a much higher quality of life. And there is one specific window of your day where those healthy choices are easiest to control: your morning. The very first hour after you open your eyes is when your body transitions out of deep sleep into physical movement, digestion, mental focus, and daily activity. What you choose to do during this critical window directly shapes your cellular hydration, daytime energy, muscular health, mental alertness, stress response, and even how accurately your internal biological clock stays synchronized. That is why today, we are going to explore 6 straightforward morning habits designed to support healthier, more vibrant aging after 65. None of these require expensive supplements, and none of them demand that you completely overturn your daily life. Pay very close attention when we reach habit number 2. It involves an activity so deceptively simple that most people overlook it entirely. Yet, it directly triggers biological processes essential for maintaining and repairing the aging body. I genuinely hope you will be watching these videos healthy, active, and strong 30 years from today. So please stay with me until the end to discover what these 6 habits are. Before we begin, drop a comment below letting me know. How old are you right now, and what part of the world are you tuning in from today? It is always wonderful to see just how far this community reaches. Let us start with habit number 5. Drink approximately 16 ounces of water right after waking up. While you sleep, you go 7 or 8 continuous hours without drinking a single drop of fluid. Yet your body never stops losing water throughout the night. With every breath you exhale, a small amount of moisture leaves your lungs, and you steadily lose fluid through your skin even when you don't feel yourself sweating. So when the morning arrives, you aren't starting your day in the exact same physical condition you were in the night before. You are waking up in a state of mild dehydration. For younger individuals, this mild fluid deficit is easy to brush off. After age 65, however, it demands deliberate attention because our natural thirst sensation becomes significantly blunted with age. In other words, your cellular tissues may desperately need water long before your brain sends you a strong conscious signal to take a drink. This is a primary reason why so many older adults wake up feeling unusually fatigued, sluggish, slightly dizzy, or simply not quite themselves. When your body runs low on fluid, your circulating blood volume drops, forcing your cardiovascular system to work much harder just to maintain normal circulation. And because your brain relies on a continuous, robust supply of blood and oxygen, dehydration can easily contribute to morning headaches, poor concentration, muscle weakness, or sudden lightheadedness when you stand up. Right after waking, aim to drink roughly 16 ounces of water, about 2 full cups, before jumping into the rest of your morning routine. It doesn't need to be freezing cold. Room temperature water is gentle on the stomach for older adults and is often much easier to drink first thing in the morning. Plain water is entirely sufficient. If you enjoy the flavor, you can add a fresh squeeze of lemon juice, but there is no need to turn this into a complicated or expensive health elixir. Consider the story of Helen, a 72-year-old retiree who had fallen into a common morning pattern. She would get out of bed, brew a pot of coffee, eat a small breakfast, and frequently go several hours before having her first glass of plain water. She regularly noticed a slight unsteadiness whenever she first started moving around her home, assuming it was simply an unavoidable part of getting older. After discussing the issue with her doctor and ruling out serious medical conditions, Helen made one small, consistent adjustment. She began setting out a glass of water on her kitchen counter each evening. The next morning, before brewing her coffee, she drank it slowly and then proceeded with her day. While dizziness can stem from many causes and always warrants medical evaluation, prioritizing morning hydration made a noticeable difference for Helen, helping her feel significantly more alert, steady, and ready to move. You can make this habit effortless by drinking your water shortly after getting out of bed, and if it fits your schedule, giving yourself about 30 minutes before eating breakfast. You don't have to chug it all at once. Simply sip it at a relaxed, comfortable pace. Most importantly, never rely on thirst alone as your reminder. As we age, our internal thirst signals become less dependable, so establishing a fixed morning hydration habit ensures your body gets the fluid it needs without waiting for distress signals. But proper hydration is only the foundation. Once you've supplied your cells with the water they need, there is another powerful biological trigger waiting right outside your window that sends a clear message to your brain. A brand new day has begun. Habit number 4, get about 10 minutes of natural morning sunlight. Once you've hydrated your body, the next thing your biology needs isn't another cup of coffee, a supplement, or even breakfast. It needs an unmistakable signal that daytime has arrived. And one of the most potent biological signals comes from something completely free: natural outdoor light. When morning sunlight enters your eyes, specialized photoreceptor cells in your retina detect the specific light spectrum. These cells don't just help you see, they communicate directly with the suprachiasmatic nucleus in your brain, which serves as your body's master circadian clock. Think about what occurs when that internal clock receives a clear, bright morning cue. Your brain immediately dials down the production of melatonin, the hormone responsible for nighttime sleepiness. At the same time, your natural morning rise in cortisol is properly timed to promote healthy alertness and prepare your muscles for movement. Sunlight exposure also stimulates serotonin pathways, which play a crucial role in stabilizing your mood and emotional well-being. Together, these coordinated processes organize your circadian rhythm, the 24-hour biological cycle that dictates when you feel energized, when your metabolism peaks, and when your body prepares for deep sleep at night. Unfortunately, many older adults spend the majority of their mornings indoors. They wake up in a dimly lit bedroom, eat breakfast under low artificial lights, and spend hours watching television or scrolling on a tablet. By lunchtime, their eyes have received virtually no bright, natural daylight. Then, a frustrating pattern sets in. They feel overwhelmingly drowsy by mid-afternoon, take a long nap, and then find themselves tossing and turning late into the night. Take 74-year-old Daniel, for example. For months, Daniel struggled with a severe afternoon slump around 3 p.m., where he could barely keep his eyes open. He routinely took long naps on the couch, only to lie awake in bed until 1 in the morning. He assumed his fading energy was just a natural consequence of aging. But looking closely at his daily routine revealed that Daniel rarely stepped outside before lunch. He decided to make one simple change. Right after drinking his morning water, he began stepping onto his back porch for about 10 minutes. Some mornings he strolled through his garden, while other days he simply sat in a chair enjoying the morning air. He wasn't doing intense exercise, and he wasn't staring directly at the sun, which you should never do. He was simply allowing natural outdoor daylight to reach his eyes. Within a few weeks, his mornings felt far more energized, his afternoon slumps became manageable, and his nighttime sleep became deep and predictable. The takeaway isn't that sunlight is a magic cure for fatigue. Chronic exhaustion can stem from underlying medical issues and always deserves proper clinical evaluation. The real lesson is that morning daylight is the primary environmental cue your brain relies on to know what time it is. Research in circadian biology links well-regulated sleep-wake cycles with healthier metabolism, balanced hormones, and protected cellular aging markers like telomeres. You don't need exaggerated claims to appreciate the practical benefit. A synchronized biological clock supports better nighttime sleep, steady daytime energy, and a brighter mood. Whenever possible, step outside for 10 minutes shortly after waking. Even on an overcast or cloudy morning, outdoor light is significantly brighter and more effective than indoor bulbs. If stepping outside isn't practical, Sit right next to a sunlit window or an open doorway to absorb natural daylight. Just remember that turning on an indoor lamp or looking at a screen cannot replace the biological impact of natural outdoor light. So now, your morning routine rests on two solid pillars. First, providing your body with the water it lost overnight, and second, giving your brain the natural light that announces the start of the day. But past age 65, there is another vital asset you must actively protect, because losing too much of it will eventually undermine your ability to walk, climb stairs, get out of a chair, and live independently. That brings us directly to habit number 3. Consume about 30 grams of protein within 90 minutes of waking up. For most adults past 65, muscle loss doesn't happen suddenly. It creeps in quietly. At first, you might notice that getting up from a low couch takes a bit more effort. Carrying groceries feels slightly more taxing. Climbing a flight of stairs requires you to hold on to the handrail. A neighborhood walk that used to feel effortless leaves your legs feeling heavy sooner than expected. These subtle physical changes are far too often dismissed with the phrase, "I'm just getting older." As the years advance, maintaining lean muscle tissue becomes increasingly challenging, particularly if we remain sedentary or fail to consume adequate protein. This progressive loss of muscle mass and functional strength is clinically known as sarcopenia. That is why your morning plate deserves a closer look. Many seniors start their day with very light meals, perhaps a slice of toast with jam, a bowl of cereal, some fruit, or just a cup of coffee. While there is nothing inherently harmful about those foods, a breakfast containing minimal protein represents a massive missed opportunity to protect your muscular frame. When you consume dietary protein, your digestive tract breaks it down into amino acids, which your body immediately utilizes for vital structural tasks, including the repair and rebuilding of muscle fibers. This biological process is known as muscle protein synthesis. Because aging muscles become less sensitive to small amounts of protein, a phenomenon called anabolic resistance, getting a substantial, meaningful dose of protein at breakfast becomes essential. A reliable target for many older adults is roughly 25 to 30 grams of protein at the morning meal. While individual requirements vary based on body weight, medical history, activity levels, you can easily hit this target with whole eggs paired with Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, lean meats, or high-protein plant-based combinations. The goal is simply to make protein a deliberate priority rather than an afterthought. Take 70-year-old Patricia, who had always assumed her morning meal was perfectly healthy. A cup of hot tea, 2 pieces of white toast, and a small piece of fruit. But over the years, she noticed her leg strength fading. Working in her garden left her exhausted, and standing back up after weeding her flower beds became increasingly difficult. After reviewing her diet and physical activity with her doctor, Patricia made a focused change. She added 25 grams of protein to her breakfast and began incorporating basic strength exercises rather than relying solely on walking. She didn't magically wake up feeling 25 again, but she noticed something far more practical. Everyday physical tasks became noticeably easier, her legs felt steady, and her stamina returned. You can amplify this benefit with one simple addition. Right after breakfast or during your morning routine, give those muscles a direct reason to stay strong. For instance, if you can do so safely, practice standing up from a sturdy chair and sitting back down with control, working your way toward 10 smooth repetitions. That simple sit-to-stand movement engages your quadriceps, glutes, hamstrings, and core, the exact muscle groups you depend on to get out of bed, climb stairs, walk briskly, and catch your balance if you slip. Protein provides the raw building blocks, while gentle resistance delivers the biological signal that your muscles are still needed. Together, targeted nutrition and basic movement protect your independence far better than passive hope. If you have chronic kidney disease or dietary restrictions, always check with your physician before making significant changes to your protein intake. Habit number 2, practice 60 seconds of single leg balance. You can possess strong muscles and still experience a fall because staying upright is not a task performed by your legs alone. Every single time you stand, turn around, step off a sidewalk curb, or navigate an uneven path, Multiple complex sensory systems inside your body work in perfect unison to keep you stable. After 65, keeping those neural pathways sharp becomes essential. Your eyes tell your brain where you are positioned in space. Your inner ear detects changes in head movement. And a specialized sensory network called proprioception allows your brain to sense the exact position of your feet, ankles, and joints without you having to look at them. When these three systems communicate smoothly, your body executes hundreds of microscopic balance corrections automatically. Your ankle muscles make tiny adjustments, your hips stabilize, your foot shifts pressure against the floor, and your brain coordinates the response in a fraction of a second. But balance is a motor skill that quickly degrades without regular practice. As we age, subtle changes in vision, joint sensation, reaction speed, medications, or inner ear function can make balance feel less secure. This is why falls represent such a serious health concern later in life. And a fall isn't just about physical injury. For many seniors, the fear of falling quietly shrinks their world. They walk shorter distances, avoid stairs, stop attending social events, move less, grow weaker, and gradually lose their independence. That is why habit number 2 takes only a single minute your morning. Stand next to a sturdy kitchen counter, a solid chair, or a wall where you can immediately grab support if needed. Never start in the middle of an open room. Place both feet firmly on the floor. Once you feel completely stable, gently lift one foot slightly off the ground. You don't need to lift your knee high, simply hover your foot and try holding the position for about 10 seconds. Then place it back down, reset your posture, and repeat the movement on the other leg. If 10 seconds feels too difficult at first, start with 3 to 5 seconds. There is no prize for pushing through instability. The goal is simply to challenge your balance safely. Look at 76-year-old Michael. He was an active, daily walker, but he began noticing that whenever he turned quickly in the kitchen or stepped from the pavement onto uneven grass, he needed an extra stumbling step to steady himself. He wasn't falling, but he realized he no longer fully trusted his footing. Instead of waiting for the problem to worsen, Michael began practicing single-leg balance next to his kitchen counter every morning. At first, he kept his fingertips lightly resting on the counter. After several weeks of consistent practice, standing on one foot felt solid and natural, and his daily walking movements felt significantly more controlled and confident. This brief exercise forces the stabilizing muscles around your ankles, knees, and hips to fire continuously while training your brain, inner ear, and joints to communicate rapidly. You aren't just strengthening a leg, you are training the neural communication network between your brain and your body. Once basic balance feels comfortable, you can explore gentle progressions, such as slowly turning your head from side to side while maintaining light support. That alters the visual and inner ear feedback, challenging your balance system in new ways. If you currently experience frequent dizziness, unsteadiness, or a history of falls, always practice with firm physical support and consult a physical therapist or physician. The ultimate objective isn't to look like an athlete. It is being able to turn around safely, step over obstacles without fear, work in your garden, and navigate your home with total confidence. And now, we reach habit number 1. Practice the 4-7-8 breathing technique. There is a profound biological difference between breathing on autopilot and deliberately slowing your respiration to regulate your nervous system. Think about how many mornings begin. Your alarm rings, you remember a stressful task, you grab your smartphone, and you're immediately hit with worrying news or a long list of responsibilities. Before your feet have even touched the floor, your mind is racing, and your body shifts into stress mode. That state triggers your sympathetic nervous system, your body's fight-or-flight mechanism. Your heart rate accelerates, your muscles tense up, and stress hormones like cortisol surge to prepare you for perceived danger. While that emergency response is vital for survival, spending your mornings stuck in chronic stress takes a heavy toll on your cardiovascular and immune systems. Fortunately, your body possesses an opposing mechanism, the parasympathetic nervous system, which governs rest, recovery, tissue repair, and internal calm. And conscious breathing is one of the few autonomic bodily functions you can consciously control to flip that biological switch. The practice is called 4-7-8 breathing. Sit comfortably with your back supported and relax your shoulders. Inhale gently through your nose for a count of 4. Hold that breath calmly for a count of 7. And then exhale slowly and completely through your mouth for a count of 8. That represents one full cycle. Aim to complete 4 to 8 rounds. If holding your breath feels uncomfortable or makes you lightheaded, do not force it. Simply start with gentle, slow breaths and stop if you feel short of breath. Why is this slow breathing rhythm so remarkably calming? It directly stimulates the vagus nerve, the primary communication highway of your parasympathetic system. Slow, extended exhalations signal your brain that you are safe, allowing your body to downshift out of high alert. This practice also improves heart rate variability, or HRV, which reflects healthy autonomic regulation of your heart rhythm. Furthermore, gentle nasal breathing engages natural nitric oxide produced in your nasal passages, supporting healthy blood flow and blood pressure regulation. Most importantly, it trains you to replace shallow, hurried chest breathing with deep, controlled respiration. Consider 71-year-old Evelyn, whose mornings became overwhelming after her husband developed mobility challenges. The moment she woke up, her mind raced through medications, meals, doctor visits, and household chores, leaving her feeling stressed and exhausted before getting out of bed. While breathing exercises were never a replacement for her prescribed blood pressure care, she needed a way to start her days with calm. She began sitting on the edge of her bed every morning, practicing a few minutes of slow breathing before checking her phone or starting her tasks. That simple routine transformed her mornings. Instead of letting anxiety dictate her emotional state, she gave herself a few minutes of peace before responding to the demands of the day. Healthy aging is never about dramatic, exhausting overhauls. It is built on small, purposeful habits practiced consistently day after day. Turning 65 does not mean your strongest, most independent years are behind you. What matters most is how intentionally you care for the years ahead. The 6 morning habits we covered today are not magical cures, but each one supports a foundational biological system. Drink water upon waking to restore cellular hydration. Step into natural morning light to synchronize your sleep-wake rhythm. Consume adequate protein at breakfast to rebuild muscle tissue. Train your balance for 60 seconds to protect your stability. And take a few minutes for deep, slow breathing to start your day with calm rather than stress. You don't have to overhaul your entire morning tomorrow. Pick just one habit, practice it until it feels like second nature, and then add another. Over time, these small choices compound into a morning routine that protects your strength, mental clarity, and independence. Because healthy aging isn't about trying to turn back the clock to 25, it is about keeping your body capable, strong, and free to fully enjoy the life you have right now. Imagine yourself at 75, 85, or even 95. The health and freedom you enjoy then will be shaped directly by the choices you make today. So tomorrow morning, don't worry about fixing the next 30 years all at once. Just take care of the very first hour. Drink your water, step into the light, nourish your muscles, practice your balance, and breathe. If you're still with me, leave a comment below sharing which of these habits you're starting tomorrow. Take wonderful care of yourself, stay consistent, and I will see you in the next video.